Hi folks, and welcome back to my reviews of the New Jedi Order. Today we're going to talk about Matthew Stover's greatest book he ever wrote, at least in my opinion, and that's called Traitor. Now, we already had Dark Journey, which focuses on Jaina, but now, of course, we're going to have the bookend of that story that focuses solely on Jacen. In fact, there is no other of the main characters that we've seen who are mentioned in the story. The main focus is Jacen. We don't hear what Jaina's doing, what Luke's doing, Mara, Han, Lando. Of course, no one's mentioning Lando that much. Anyone. It's just solely focused on Jacen. Now, this is taking place kind of shortly after Star by Star. Remember, he's been captured. What's he been doing? Well, it hasn't been fun for Jacen. He's been tortured. Nomenar has put him into the embrace of pain, which is something that delivers sharp pain to him. And while he's about to, pass out, it lightens up on the pain. And then when you recover, it feels that and it tightens back up on the pain. It's a wicked device. And what Nomenar is trying to do is trying to twist Jacen to join the Vong. He's trying to mess with his mind and just go through that with torture. Man, what's this about the Vong and constant torture? But the embrace of pain, ooh, not fun. Not fun at all. So with Jacen is Vergere, or Vergere, however you want to call him, the avian creature that we've already seen previously. Now, he is kind of talking to Jacen and telling him a few things about the Force. They're having discussions on the Force. Now, we're going to find out more about his origin later on, but right now it's obvious to Jacen that this creature knows something of the Force. And Vergere is basically just kind of testing Jacen's faith in the Force, his ideas of the Force. And this was a new idea for a new religion that they wanted to kind of put together, but it didn't quite work out. Like after this, they just kind of wrote it off later on. But it was what if there is no light side? What if there is no dark side? There's just a gray side, and we just got to live in the gray. Sometimes you need the dark, sometimes you need the light. The light can't function without the dark, and vice versa. So it turns out later on that he was just messing with Jacen's head, but I kind of like that theory. I kind of like that idea. It kind of put more realism in the Force. Because, I mean, come on, light and dark side. I get where they're going there, but the world isn't black and white. There's a lot of gray in there. And that's what Vergere is telling Jacen. So they have these intellectual conversations in between. Now, eventually, he's going to get Jacen out. I should also mention there's another Jedi that's with Jacen. I kind of kept this secret and I realize I have to spoil it, but Ganner is with him. Ganner has been a Jedi who's been around since the New Jedi Order, and he's been an awesome character, a fun character, and he's about to get his moment right here. You talk about iconic moments in the New Jedi Order. This one has to be one of them. I've talked about several already, but this one is also one that everyone remembers. Ganner's last stand, or Ganner at the gates, right? It's just an awesome story. You see, Jacen escapes, and now he's going to go after the world brain. Remember, they're using his Aquaman powers now for good. They're like, oh, he can talk to creatures, so maybe he can start connecting with these Vong creatures. And of course, that's something that Jacen can do. So he's going after the world brain to kind of shut it down. Well, the Vong know what's going on, and they're going after Jacen. He needs time to do what Jacen needs to do. So Ganner decides to buy him that time and sacrifice himself and guard the gate. One Jedi, one lightsaber against a whole entire horde of Vong. And he single-handedly kills more Vong than I think any Jedi ever has in the New Jedi Order. It's one after the other, and bodies are building up. I mean, he's on a pile of Vong bodies, fighting through them, cutting through them just to climb to the top again and fighting another Vong. In fact, he's so amazing that even the Vong are in awe of him. Like, they have respect for warriors, and they kind of respect the Jedi. They are, acceptable warriors. They provide them a challenge. But this Ganner guy, who is he? And that makes a big statement on the Vong. They're like, look what he's done. Like, they're super impressed by this guy. He's the enemy, yes, but look how many of our warriors he's taken out. He's still fighting, even though they're killing him. He's slowly dying. He just keeps on trudging on until he can't fight anymore. And this makes a big impression with the Vong, and a lot of them start questioning, are we doing the right thing going against these Jedi? It's a really powerful scene, and honestly one of the best in the New Jedi Order, no joke. By the way, I did get to talk to Troy Denning about this novel a long time ago. When I asked him, I said, who was the most frustrating author to work with? And he gave out the biggest laugh ever. He said, Matthew Stover, by far. And I was like, really? And he loves Matthew Stover, but he said this guy was so full of ideas. He would call Troy Denning up and say, hey, what if I do this? Or he'd say, fine, Matthew, just let us know where we can take the story from there. So go there. And then he said just a few days later, Matthew would call him back. No, I have a better idea. Here's what happens. We're going to do this, this, and this. He went, okay, that's fine. Just as long as you get to point B and give us some details so we can pick up your story, that's fine. But he said he must have called 3-4 times a week, coming up with new ideas of directions he was putting the story. He's like, Matthew, will you just write the story? He said, but he had so many directions, and he kept laughing because he just had a lot of ideas on where to take this story and what to do with it. Now, to be honest, I would love to interview Matthew Stover and get his ideas. What was he thinking about if he changed his mind so often? But Troy Denning was just worried that he would change his mind so often that the books wouldn't match up with that story, because they were, looking to have lots of continuity, and whatever that storyline was, that was going to be passed on to the next author to implement those events. But if Matthew Stover kept changing the direction or things that happened in the middle of it, then we can't write a good story. So it was really funny to hear that. And to be honest, this is Matthew Stover. In my opinion, this is the best novel he ever wrote. We don't get to see Jason for several books. This is the first time we get to see Jason again. We see what he's doing. And like I said, they're putting his powers to good use. He's getting some education. In fact, in a way, I don't know if they were planning it this far out, but Vigiri is going to be planting the seeds that is going to take effect and change who Jason is as a character in the next big story arcs going forward, the next big series going forward. So in a way, it does plant the seeds for that as well. It's a fantastic novel, well worth, just like everything in the New Jedi Order is a fantastic read. But anyway, great book, absolutely love it. All right, folks, that's it for now. I'll see you next time with another video.